Good day, everybody. This is Vincent Salazar here on another edition of Angelo State University Coach's Corner. I'm now joined by women's Ram Bell softball head coach Travis Scott. Coach, glad to have you on the show today.
Hey, glad to be here again.
Well, Coach, we had a very busy weekend, kind of a crazy weekend, a lot of games moving back and forth, but in the end, your Ram Bell squad finished 4-0 in the George and Ola McCorkle Invitational. Take us through these last 3 days and the big things y'all had to do to get these wins.
Well, we actually finished 6-0. Come on now.
Oh, my apologies, Coach. That's right. 6-0. That's my fault.
It was a very busy weekend.
I've still got the week ahead, I believe, when we finished off out there. Yes, sir.
For sure. But no, I'm just proud of the way everybody dealt with the weather conditions that we had to deal with. You know, the other 3 teams, the umpires, the fans, everybody. You know, the staff that worked the games. Everybody was phenomenal because we were obviously dealing with some crazy weather patterns and trying to keep up with that hourly forecast, and had to adjust some schedules, kick some games back and all that, and really everything went off flawless once we got out onto the field. So, you know, just kudos to all the teams involved, the coaches involved, the players, everybody that made that thing work to still make it a very successful tournament. And then for us to go out and play well again, you know, and get in front of our home fans for the first time this season was nice. And you know, it's just always good when you can go out and play well at home, and I think that we did that, and I think we gave something for our fans to be excited about.
Understandable, Coach. You know, talking about the competition that was there, one of the schools you were talking about was Florida Tech, a really good school. I found out doing some research, one that saw the South Central Regional back in 2015, and like you mentioned, they earlier beat Valdosta State, but your squad was able to do a great job defensively of keeping them off the boards. Tell us a little bit about what went into that.
Morgan Hill, she had a huge weekend for us. She threw the ball extremely well, and then Brandy was kind of hit and miss. She's been battling some sickness and some illness, but you know, she had some big innings, and then Megan Hill threw the ball really well as well. So that was encouraging to get her some quality time this weekend to see what we got and get her comfortable back in that circle against other opponents. But Florida Tech had a good left-handed pitcher. She really spun the ball well, just a finesse type pitcher. And I think Courtney Barnhill hit a big 3-run home run in game 1 against them to give us the lead. And then in the second game that we played against them, Tegan Kirk had the big 3-run home run to give us a 3-0 victory. But you know, to be able to shut them out twice was very encouraging, and we made some great defensive plays and just played really well against a team that, like you said, you know, they beat Valdosta State last week, and Valdosta is always one of the better teams in the country, and to be able to go out and beat them twice was big.
Absolutely. And one other squad you talked to me last time out was the Scrappy squad, Texas A&M International. That first game was definitely a big battle. Then y'all came back on the first day. Y'all came back and just kind of 10-run ruled them, but then on that final day, once again, they were right back at it, toe-in-toe with it. Tell us what went into those.
You know, it's a team that Coach Libby down there does an outstanding job, and we were talking about it yesterday after our last game. They went 1-6 this past weekend. I mean, they only won 1 game. But against us, 2 out of the 3 games were just down to the bitter end, and they just always seem to do that with us. And I mean, we've had a couple games against them here recently where we've kind of taken hold, and like you said, you know, the 10-0 win Friday night, but majority of the time it's just a dogfight with them. They just get up to play us, and they scrap. They've got some talent, and you know, I wish that team all the best of luck until they play us again. Then they need to be bad, but but you know, he does a great job, and just a great guy and great staff, and kids play hard for him, and they did exactly that again. They competed with us. You know, they took Brandy to the bitter end, and then yesterday, Morgan had a solid 4 innings against them, and then, you know, Brandy came in and got a big save for us.
And we talked about it earlier on, Coach, with your pitching staff, and I was really impressed with what I saw on that Friday night game, especially in the last one with Morgan Hill starting out. Then her little sister Megan came in and just puts 2 strikeouts right after her, and as you mentioned with Brandy Marlette, kind of struggling right now, but I'm sure she'll get her way back on. But I guess for one of your offensive players, you mentioned was Tegan Kirk also, who really just stood out to you in this past weekend?
Well, Karina Rocha. Karina Rocha had a huge weekend. I think she hit 3 or 4 home runs, 3 or 4 doubles on top of that, and drew probably 6 or 7 walks. She had a huge weekend, and you know, the kid's so powerful, and she's such a threat in the batter's box right now. She's not chasing pitches. She's battling off speed pitches. She's having success with that pitch as well, and and just driving the ball to all parts of the ballpark. I think 2 of the home runs that she hit out were to right field, and then she turned on another one and hit another one to dead center. So she's just a threat in the lineup. Courtney Barnhill had a real good start to the weekend. Madison Greenwell continues to be a great leadoff hitter and do things well for us. And then really, we had big hits up and down the lineup. Danae had a big hit, big home run. Stroud had a couple big hits. We just, we didn't have all the great at-bats. I'm not going to act like it was, I'm thrilled with everything that happened in the batter's box, but, we just found a way to get some runners on base and get those big hits to win those games that were close. And but when you want to ask me who really stood out, it was Karina Rocha this weekend.
Yeah, she had a great game, Coach. I believe she had, what was it, double
six
homer?
RBIs
6 RBIs in one game.
So
Yeah, she had really gone off.
I think
in this
our
tournament.
record is 7, and she had 6, so she almost broke the record.
Yes, sir. Yeah, she'll probably definitely be a really fun player to watch as the season continues
Exactly.
on. And as we move on, of course, now we got Lone Star Conference.
Right.
Seemed like it just kind of snuck up on us out of nowhere real quickly, but y'all will be heading out to Kingsville, Texas. So what are y'all kind of looking for in this upcoming series with Angelo Kingsville?
Just a very talented team. When you look at the scores, the top 8 teams in the Lone Star just dominated, these first couple of weekends of play. And Kingsville's had a tough schedule. They've played a really good Central Oklahoma team who we'll see later in the year. They played them 2 or 3 times at the beginning of the season. They played Southern Arkansas this past weekend, who's predicted to win the Great American Conference. They played Lubbock Christian, and they've had a good, tough 2 weeks. And I'm not 100% sure what their record is right now, but it's a team that has a lot of talent. They got a new coach who knows what he's doing, and he's had a lot of success in the past. And we know we're going to have our hands full. We got to go down there and play really well. And you always want to start off well in Lone Star Conference play because it could come down to one game decision, or half a game lead at the end and all that. So you don't want to give away games. But going on the road to Kingsville is always been a tough place to go play. And I feel confident that our team will be ready, but we're going to have to go out and do things really well to be able to get 3 wins.
Understandable. Well, Coach, before I let you go, I learned my lesson from last time. Is there anything you'd like to share with everybody before we head on out?
I heard the Lone Wrangler made another appearance at the basketball game the other night.
Yeah,
You know that guy?
I've heard of him a couple of times. I think Daniel Ramirez, he mentioned an interesting quote on Twitter about there's a rumor every time Tarleton comes to town, he seems to pop out of retirement.
Yeah, that's his favorite team right here.
Absolutely, Coach.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Well, Coach, of course, you can keep up with these games that will be coming up this weekend on AngeloSports.com. You can also read all the latest stories, news, and stats about what's going on with your Rambell softball team. But Coach Travis Scott, thank you for coming in, talking with us today, and we wish you the best of luck on your road trip to Kingsville.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. We'll take a quick break. Be right back here on Coach's Corner. Welcome back to Angelo State University Coach's Corner, where I'm now joined by Bell basketball women's head coach Renee Shippey. Coach, glad to have you back on the show.
Good to see you. Glad to be back.
Well, Coach, last time still undefeated. We're still undefeated now. 10-0 on the season. What a massive weekend this one. What a massive weekend this was. Y'all got the first big win over Texas A&M Commerce to get the sole possession of the Lone Star Conference, and then y'all finished up with a big win over rival Tarleton State University to get that grudge match back from earlier in Stephenville. Take us a little bit about what y'all did to get ready for this last week of games.
Well, the biggest thing was obviously our defense. It was just absolutely phenomenal this week. I think I've told multiple people our girls just were everywhere at once. And then obviously having a huge presence with Dee Moore in the paint. She was blocking shots. She was getting defensive rebounds. Really just doing it all. But that's the biggest thing that I would say just that has resulted in success for our girls. And then you got Marquita Daniels, who's just really just playing just with tons of maturity and leadership and just kind of taking the team on her back and just making a big difference on both sides of the floor, offensively and defensively. But really I could say great things about all our girls, but the biggest thing is I would say is our defensive effort is just really, really good right now. So hopefully that stays up here down the stretch.
You're absolutely right, Coach. This week I go on the road. Y'all be headed toward Odessa, Texas to play UT Permian Basin. And then, of course, the big one, always a difficult one, but the one that kind of got things rolling for you on the season, West Texas A&M up in Canyon. What are y'all looking to do to try to get these 2 wins and keep this thing rolling?
Well, UTPB, they play a very different defense, and it's called the Buzz. And so we're really going to just prep our girls, work on going against that type of defense and making sure that we're placing the ball and where it needs to be, and just really just prep for them in that way. And then obviously still emphasizing what we do on defense. And so just trying to help them to be able to score the ball better. And then obviously against WT, you can't look past games, but against WT, when we had them here, you're right, that was the game that kind of started this streak and just really, I think, just showed our team just how good we could be. And so really just, focusing on personnel, focusing on making sure that we execute and do what we do. And then, again, defensive effort. It has been everything, and that has been the difference in our team for this last 10 games for us. And so just really focusing on that as well. But that's going to be our focus going into this week.
Understandable, Coach. As you mentioned, I was at that game on Saturday against Tarleton State, and the defense was phenomenal from your squad. As you mentioned with Marquita Daniels, just a big-time player who stepped up massively in that win. But going over that game as well, it was the pink-out game, as mentioned. Tell us how important that was to your players. I saw they had a lot of fun out there with this one.
I will say that, too. They did have a ton of fun, and it was good to see. But you're right. Defensively, we held Tarleton to 9 points in the third quarter, which is just, absolutely great for our team. And so, but the pink out game, this game meant a lot to our players in a lot of different ways. It also meant a lot to our coaching staff. Our assistant coach, Lacey Shalenko, she had lost her mom last year to cancer. And so one of the things that we did in that game, and it was a team effort, everybody was excited to do it, was we wrote her mom's initials on our left arms, and obviously that we dedicated the game to her, and obviously that was just kind of a huge part because going into the game we just talked about, wins and losses, when it really comes to the scheme of life and just when you're dealing with real life, it doesn't mean as much whenever you're talking about things like cancer. And so that was one of the cool things that we did. And then obviously too, each player picked somebody to dedicate their game for, and they wore their name on the back of their warm-up. And I just felt like our energy just was really good. Just everybody was extremely loose, and they just really enjoyed just the pink out game, what it stood for, and they just went out there and got to hoop and have fun with their teammates. So it was really good to see. It was really good to just see them just play just so confident, especially against Tarleton State.
Absolutely right, Coach. Just like you said, not just a big win for the program, but a big win for a great reason to help battle against cancer. Just really 2 good things to go hand in hand there. So as mentioned, of course, so you are number 1 in the Lone Star Conference. Y'all have done a fantastic job of keeping that focus. So now going forward, do you kind of have that back in the back of y'all's mind that you are number 1, but you still want to stay focused on the positive right now?
Our focus going forward is we just are taking it one game at a time. Because if you haven't noticed in this league, there's a lot of different people that have been beating, different opponents. So really any game in the Lone Star Conference is an important game. Each team that you play, they're all, there's great players, there's great coaches, and you just never know what's going to happen. So we just have to worry about us and that making sure that we put our best product on the floor and execute what we do, and then continue to keep this great defensive energy and effort alive.
Understandable, Coach. Well, is there anything you'd like to share with us before you head on out?
No, just hoping for 2 great wins this week, but no, the girls are excited. It's funny too because a lot of our team, they haven't played obviously on the road in the Lone Star because we have a lot of new players on our team, and we've seen a lot of West Texas film, and so they've seen their gym and stuff, and so they're excited to go on this road trip and go see what UTPB is about and go see what West Texas is about. So they are excited for that. So and we've been playing pretty good on the road, so I'm hoping that streak continues this week.
Yeah, hopefully we'll come when you come back next week. We'll still have that streak riding, but of course, should be a fun road trip in the Lone Star Conference. I'm sure they'll have a good time. Always difficult places to play, but always fun to at least get a look and see of how they do things over there. So your Bells basketball will be in action this week. They'll be on the road, and you can keep up with those games on angelosports.com. You can find all the stats, stories, and other information you'd like to find out all on the Angelo Sports website. But I'll do it. Coach, thank you for coming in and speaking
Good to
with us
see ya.
today.
Yes, thank you.
No problem. We'll take a quick break. Be back in just a moment. Welcome back to Coach's Corner. I'm now joined by Bells women's tennis head coach Chris Bezod. Coach, now we just got back underway. We just had the very historic game here at Angelo State University. I know Sally didn't kind of go the way y'all were hoping, but still a historic day nonetheless. Take us a little bit through what went throughout that day.
Well, it was really cold, but really it was a great day, to be honest with you, outside of the outcome. You know, we had almost 100 people out there, so I've never had so many people come out when the temperatures are in the 30s. And the girls, you know, we're just so grateful to have that support. And it was just a great day to have a lot of the community and a lot of the ASU community as well to come support the girls. So it was a great day. Obviously, the outcome, you know, could have been a little bit better, but all in all, you know, not too much to complain about.
Yeah, absolutely right, Coach. Just saying, Ed's squad was, from what I was reading, the 4th in the South Central Regional, so definitely a team that has done a lot for itself. But, you know, your Bell squad did show up, got some wins in this one. Take us a little bit about what you were able to do through both the doubles and singles competition.
Well, I felt like we came out pretty good. We had a lot of energy, you know, and that's what happens when you have a good crowd. And, you know, we got on the board first at #1 doubles with, you know, Anna and Maria played really, really well, and they're coming along as a team. You know, we got off to a slow start at 3 doubles and kind of got in a hole there. And I think 2 doubles was kind of back and forth. You know, we really had a lot of chances on that court. We had match points. We served for it, and we had match point. And, you know, so 1 point there could have really flipped the script a little bit and changed the momentum. And you could kind of see once we lost that court, the momentum really shifted in their advantage. And I think it really bolstered them for the singles, and so that was a big moment in the match.
Now, I usually ask Coach Kevin Brooks this, but the weather, do you believe, you mentioned it was about 30 degrees, so do you have to think that kind of went into the game and kind of played an effect in it?
Well, yeah, of course, you know, I mean, certainly the tennis probably wasn't as high of a level all the way around because of the weather. But, you know, I mean, really, the girls competed like crazy. They did a great job there, and St. Edward's did as well. I mean, I think whenever you play in a regional match, you know, everybody kind of knows it's going to be a big match. And, you know, and the fact that we had a big crowd, I think, fueled them as well. But like I said, we had some chances. All you can do against teams like that is put yourself in a position to win and hope that at that moment you can come through. Unfortunately, we had about 4 or 5 of those moments, and we just didn't catch any of them. And, you know, we'll get back to work and hopefully improve from it. But the more I think we can put the girls in that situation, the better they're going to be. You know, like I told the girls, you know, they have 6 juniors. They have, you know, a couple of 100 college matches under their belt. We have about 5. And so that's what it's going to be this year. And so we're just going to have to overcome that. But the more we can put them in that spot, I think the better we're going to be.
Absolutely right, Coach. A lot of young players for your squad, but a lot of improvement that can be made on the way. So, of course, now looking toward y'all's schedule forward, what are y'all kind of looking to do to improve?
So, really the big thing is we're going to be working on our service games. You know, Coach Torres and I have been watching the film, and we just didn't hold serve enough. And in our sport, you know, that's the #1 thing you really got to do. You got to take care of your serve, and we did not do that strong enough. So that's going to be the focus at practice this week. We got Howard Payne coming here on Thursday, and that'll be a good opponent for us to really work on those things. And then we have the following weekend, we go to Arkansas and we play, you know, 4 matches in 2 days. So we got a pretty heavy weekend, you know, in a couple weeks. So
I guess looking toward this upcoming one against Howard Payne, what are some things you are looking from them that you're going to try to kind of best them at in this matchup?
Well, I'm not too worried about them. I'm more worried about just us. You know, like I said, we're going to work on our service games, make sure that, you know, in tennis, it's all about patterns, you know, and make sure that we feel really good about our patterns coming off of our serve. And, you know, that's something we just didn't do a great job of on Saturday. So that's going to be the focus. It's all going to be all about us. And hopefully that'll improve so that when we get into our D2 schedule even more, we'll be ready to go for it.
And hopefully it'll be a little bit warmer this upcoming week.
That would be nice. That would be nice. Yep.
Well, Coach, before we let you go, is there anything you'd like to share with everybody?
No, I just want to, give a special thanks to everybody who came out, and we had a bunch of dignitaries who were there, and they did a ceremonial first serve, and we just couldn't have asked for a better crowd and better support from the school and from the community. So I just want to thank everybody for coming out on Saturday, making it a special day.
Understandable. It was a really fun day, great day in the history of Angelo State University. You can read up on more of that story and also about the Bells' upcoming matchup against Howard Payne and then their trip to Arkansas, all on angelosports.com. You can find always great statistics, stories, and even merchandise, all on angelosports.com. But that'll do it with Coach Chris Bezak. Coach, always happy to have you here and always a pleasure to hear what's going on in the tennis world.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
No problem. We'll take a quick break. Be back in just a moment. Welcome back to Angelo State University Coach's Corner, where I'm now joined by Rams men's head basketball coach, Cinco Boone. Coach, glad to have you back.
Thanks, Vincent. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, no problem. We'll coach another 1-1. You got a big win over A&M Commerce, which was a very big leader, but sadly things kind of didn't go the way we were hoping Saturday against Tarleton State.
Yeah, we were looking to sweep and win both games this weekend, and we just again, consistency is something that we're striving for with our team, and I was very pleased with how we played on Thursday night, and Commerce is a very good team. Got a lot of respect for them and their coaches, and the second half we played outstanding, and we made shots. Sometimes it's really a simple game. You hit 13 threes, I think, shoot just under 50%, and then you turn back around 2 nights later, and we couldn't buy a basket from three-point land. 31 threes is something, in my opinion, is too much to take, but some of that stuff is what Tarleton was giving us. They really packed in their zone. The first time when we played them at their place, they had an opening in the high post area, and we really were able to get the ball in there and attack them in the paint, even though we shot poorly at their place. This time they took away our paint touches and basically said, hey, you're going to shoot from three-point line. And, I thought our defense did a good job of keeping us in the game. And then you could just kind of feel it in the gym about that 10-minute mark of the second half. One team's about to start hitting shots. And I had all my fingers and toes crossed and hoping it was us. And it wasn't. It was them, and they made shots, and, we had to switch to a press at the end to try to give ourselves a chance, and we did. I give our guys credit, about a little over a minute left to play. We cut it to 4 and had the ball, until we turned it over. So, again, just looking for consistency in a lot of different areas, but it's no secret we didn't shoot the ball well the other night.
Yeah, I was definitely hoping to see y'all were making that late run. I think maybe y'all had if y'all were given a couple more minutes, y'all probably would have had a great chance of coming back and tying that one up.
Yeah, like I said, 4-point game and our ball with a minute left to go, you come down and get a bucket. Now you just have to get a stop, and then you have the ball back and a chance to tie or win the game, and just didn't go our way. And
one thing you talked about the last time when y'all went to Wisdom was that y'all had to actually move out from the man-to-man defense and play a little zone. And I know you said y'all's squad is not very comfortable with that. Did y'all have to do that this time around against the Texans?
No, we didn't zone them much. Again, I thought our man-to-man was guarding them really well. Obviously a low-scoring game, 21-20 at halftime, and it was really the first 10 minutes of the second half. I felt like it was low-scoring. Both teams were guarding. I thought our man-to-man, we were really guarding them and getting stops and rebounds. We out-rebounded them for the game. But when we were coming down there, we just couldn't throw one in the ocean, So, simple game, make shots, get stops. We got some stops for a while, but then our offense just didn't click on Saturday.
Well, sadly, as you mentioned, it didn't go the way we wanted to go, but of course you can always look toward the positives. And of course, another big week to kind of make a little bit more movement in the LSC. So y'all be going on the road. Y'all be taking on UT Permian Basin. Y'all got the big win over them earlier this season here in the Janelle Center. And then, of course, West Texas A&M, one of the main leaders in the LSC right now.
Yeah, one of the last time, the last time that we played these teams back to back, was, but it was flopped. We had to play at Tarleton and Commerce first, Then we had to play these two teams coming up at our place, and now it's just flip-flopped. And, you know, we've known all along that it'd be a tough 4-game stretch both times. And, you know, Permian Basin and West Texas A&M, both of them returned so many players off of their successful NCAA tournament teams last year, you know, with West Texas A&M going all the way to the Sweet 16 and, you know, UT Permian Basin making the NCAA tournament last year and winning the league and beating us in the conference tournament. You know, they're just they're really good teams, and so we know that we're capable of beating them. I thought we could have beat West Texas here. It was a close game. We did beat UT Permian Basin. We know that when we go on the road, how hard it is to win road games. We know their atmospheres are going to be loud, and we're going to have to mentally fight through some things. And so, you know, all year long we've talked about being on the road. You have to be mentally tough to go in there and win. Our team is capable of winning, and I think the pressure is going to be on those two teams a little bit because they're trying to win first. Both of them are kind of vying, and, you know, hopefully we'll go in there with no pressure on us and go in there and give it everything we have, and it'd be great to come out 2-0 at the end of this week.
Offensively and defensively, what are you seeing from these two squads that y'all kind of want to focus on this week to get ready?
Well, you know, Permian Basin's one of the most athletic teams in the conference, and, you know, their starting 5, you know, pretty much is returning. And they've got a great rebounder in Sammy Allen, who at 6'2", 6'3", whatever he is, you know, he led the conference in rebounding last year, and he's doing it again this year. You've got Deshaun Francis, who was the player of the year in the Lone Star Conference last year. You've got James McPherson, who, you know, had 29 on us here last year, really shoots the ball. Then you got Josh Morris, who is just a dominant big man that's inside, you know. So they're athletic. They get up and down, and then they'll do a good job just with their athleticism, really getting the ball to the rim. So we're going to have to, you know, be able to take McPherson's threes away but protect the paint on everybody else. And then West Texas A&M, it's no question, you know, they're the best shooting team in the league. They got they have their school's all-time leading scorer in Chavlovich. Ryan Quaid really had a good game against us last time in the post. I think he had 22 points and 20 rebounds, something like that. So we know we've got two tough teams coming up, and they both play man-to-man defense and both solid defensive teams. But, you know, to me, they're more offensive firepower, and we're going to have to do a good job defensively this week.
So as you mentioned, Charlton State was able to kind of contain the Rams from scoring in the paint. How do y'all want to get that going this week against WT and UT Permian? Because y'all have done so well this season on making sure that paint that belongs to y'all.
Yeah, I think, again, it just is going to – I don't know if they're going to watch the tape and want to play some 2-3 zone. That'll obviously be something we'll work on this week, be prepared to teams try to take away the paint from us, you know. But the two teams we're playing this week, they do a good job in their man-to-man of protecting the paint. And so we got to be stubborn. You know, we got to be able to continue to drive the ball, make them collapse, then kick it back out, get open shots, or again, drive again, you know. And so it's kind of the way our offense is set up. We'll try to be stubborn and take care of the ball and really put a lot of pressure on the paint.
Understandable. Well, Coach, before we let you go, is there anything you'd like to share with us?
Man, go Rams. That's about all.
Completely understandable, Coach. Well, as mentioned, the Ram basketball squad will be on the road this week. You can catch up with all those games all on angelosports.com. You can always find great stories, statistics, and much, much more all at angelosports.com. But that'll do it here. So, Coach, thank you for coming in, talking with us today.
Appreciate it, Vincent.
No problem. We'll take a quick break. Be back in just a moment. Welcome back to Angelo State University Coach's Corner. Now joined with Rams baseball head coach Kevin Brooks. Coach, great to have you back on the show.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Absolutely right. Well, Coach, I know the first game didn't go y'all's way, but still able to get those 2 other wins to win this series over SWAZU. Take us through this weekend about what stood out to you.
Well, you know, Friday we did not play well, and unfortunately it's sort of how we've been playing. You know, in losses, you know, nobody likes to have them, but I felt it was a good one. Hopefully we learned some lessons from it. And we were in that game, you know. We unfortunately hit 3 guys in a row in the 9th inning and opened the door. I really feel like we come back and win that thing. And then Saturday and Sunday, you know, we got 2 good pitching performances. out of Carson Childers and Shane Browning, and and then the bullpen came in and did their job. Trent Baker, freshman, I thought, came in and showed he's got a chance to be pretty good. So, and then offensively, still we're scoring runs, able to run the bases, but still feel like we're just sort of touching the surface of hopefully where we'll be.
Yeah, understandable. That's one thing you were definitely talking about in the last few weeks. It was going to be your bullpen and how they were going to kind of continue on. I was talking to some of the crew back at Ram TV for our sports area, and they were definitely impressed with some of your younger guys and really how they'll be able to step up for the future here at ASU.
That is, coming into this year, we sort of feel like this is that. If we're good this year, then we think it can be scary good for the next 4 to 5 years. We'll see how things go and how everybody develops, but we do feel like we've got a really good nucleus of young players, and a lot of them are having to step up for the first time and sort of see how they react to the college game. But we feel like they have the stuff. There's some growing pains sometimes associated with that, but hopefully we get through, and by the end, we'll be ready to go.
Yeah, those usually always seem to have a very big payoff in the end after a while.
That's the hope.
So, of course, now y'all be traveling on the road this week. Y'all be going to Lubbock Christian University. Take us through, I believe this is pretty much a good annually opponent y'all take on either here or there, and always a good matchup.
Yeah, I mean, they're always, they were NAIA for a number of years, won several national championships, and then since they moved to Division II, they've been a perennial powerhouse. It's always good, our philosophy is we'll play anybody, anytime, and we'll play the best teams because we feel like that gets us ready for postseason type stuff. So they're definitely one of those opponents. They struggled this weekend. They lost 3 out of 4 at home to Regis, which and they didn't score. So I hope that continues. Generally, offensively, they're a great team, and they do have all their pitching back. So they did not give up many runs. So, we've never won a series there. So I anticipate it being a dogfight. And like I say, hopefully we can sort of keep them on a snide. I know there's nobody they want to beat more than us. We've knocked them out of the regionals the last 2 years. We swept them here last year. So they haven't gotten us in a while. So I know they're going to be really looking forward to us coming to town and trying to change that for them.
Yeah, I always remember in the past, it's always one of the biggest games to watch coming in from the non-conferences, the Rams versus the Chaparral.
The Chaparrals.
The Chaparrals. I feel bad as a play-by-play man. I usually want to call them the Road Runners, but I make that mistake a couple times and I get in trouble for it. So, Coach, but of course, I'm sure you've seen your defense making ESPN this week to number 6 on the top 10. Just tell us a little bit about how good this defense is. We talked about the pitching staff, but your outfield just doing a phenomenal job.
We are up the middle. We're great. I mean, center, short, second, catcher, corners. We got Mitch and right and Michael and left in the outfield. And Mitch, Mitch is not the fastest. But he is a throwback guy that is, he's going to hurl his body into a wall or whatever to make a play. And that was a great play. It was a huge play. We had bases loaded right there and 2 outs, and that thing drops, 3-run score, and now it's a different ball game. And like I say, he's not afraid to use everything he's got to try to make a play. He actually made that exact same play in practice on Wednesday, I believe it was. So it was same ball, same result. So that's good. That's what you sort of hope. That's why we practice. Is hopefully game time comes, we go do the same stuff.
Yeah, understandable. Definitely have to be really happy with a player who's really willing to risk a lot just to make a big play.
Yes, he is. He's a fun guy to coach.
Absolutely right, Coach. Well, your bats, of course, was doing a lot of work this weekend. Tell us about who really stood out to you there.
Well, Nick Novak, again, continued to play really well. And then other than that, it just, it's really varied. Mitch got back going and swung the bat well, too. And then pretty much everybody contributed at one time. Jacob had the big game on Saturday with the 4-4 in the Grand Slam. So, and that's good. That's what it takes being a good team. I always worry when our offense revolves around one guy or 2 guys because you're real easy to beat. You just got to go, okay, well, we stop him, we beat him. And so when you can't pinpoint a particular target and you got to worry about everybody, I think as a team you end up better. And so right now we're sort of showing that. We need to have more step up and be more consistent, but we're moving in the right direction.
Understandable, Coach. And, of course, we're still in non-conference play, so a lot of time to get those guys rolling. And, of course, against really good opponents, so it'll definitely help out later on down the road in LSC play.
Absolutely. And, that's the one thing for us. These games are the same as conference. It's actually more important. Conference isn't that big a deal.
Understandable, Coach. Well, Coach, before we let you go, is there anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, I was you asked that question to Cinco earlier, and he didn't have an answer, so I was going to. I have a winter Olympic fever. What about you?
Gosh, yeah. I feel kind of bad because I've been trying to catch up with it. It's just been so busy. Oh, my. It's been real tough.
But like biathlon, big biathlon fan, curling.
Oh, the curling, yeah.
Short track skating. I mean, I love it. It's
Oh, yeah,
my
it's-
favorite time every 2 years now. Thank goodness we get them every 2 years.
Yeah, every 2 years now, thankfully. It's kind of a little different from
But
soccer.
right now, Canada is beating us in the medal count, and that is
Oh,
unacceptable.
wow. Yeah.
Because Canada, obviously, inferior country to the United States.
Hopefully they can catch up there, Coach, and bring some more gold on back to the
I've
USA.
been texting my former Canadian players, talking a little smack. So I know they're big fans of Coach's Corner, and they watch it every week.
We're happy to have that at least there, Coach, so hopefully they'll keep on watching even after.
All right.
Well, thank you there, Coach. Well, of course, the Ram baseball will be in action on the road this week up in Lubbock, Texas, taking on Lubbock Christian University. You can keep stats on that game and, of course, listen to it all on angelosports.com. Find out great stories, stats, and much, much more all on asu.com. But that'll do it for us from here. So, Coach, we're happy to have you with us, and we wish you the best of luck on y'all's road trip this weekend.
Thanks, Vincent. Appreciate y'all.
No problem. Well, this has been Vincent Salazar, and that's going to wrap up this week's edition of Coach's Corner. We can't wait to have y'all again next week for another exciting edition. Take care, everybody.
USA.